are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 116 of the College Loop Podcast. I am here joined today by Mr. Tarr and Colin Beyersdorf. What's that, Daniel Larck there? Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. I'm having one of the days of all time, so we're gonna keep moving. Colin Beyersdorf, are you eating?
Yeah, so I'm doing great because the College Loop has hit 600 subscribers, and that means I am allowed to eat again. So we're really living it up over here in the Beyersdorf household.
Dylan, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Colin, you still have a TikTok dance to do, my guy.
We're working on that.
You still have yet to do. We have since we hit 500 and 600, and you still have yet to have done a TikTok dance. I think we got to do two. You're gonna do two.
In the drafts. I got you.
Colin literally can't stop eating because he's been starved for 3 weeks now. So that's where we're at, and I'm not gonna waste any more time, fellas.
Speaking of starved,
I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's talk some Auburn ball. And Colin, once you get that pretzel, are those the garlic pretzels, by the way?
Yeah, they are. Garlic Farm.
So good. Those are so good. I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Beyersdorf to facilitate the show today, Dylan.
Yeah, so I guess just to start things off, we will touch on this ugly Texas A&M game one last time and just get our overall grades for offense, defense, and team as a whole. So I guess, Harrison, we can start with you.
Sure. Yeah, we'll touch on this. Auburn got touched on this, so we'll touch on this. Offense is an F. Period. End of sentence. Dylan's gonna say something else here in a minute, and I have a nice rebuttal for that. Yeah, offense is an F. I'm gonna give the defense like a B+. I thought they played pretty well, all things considered. It's not their fault that they didn't have time to breathe. And let's not forget, if it weren't for Eugene Asante, Auburn literally would not have scored a touchdown. So I'm gonna go B+ there. And I know that those should average out to like a C-. They don't, to me, because the offense was that bad. In my test book today, it's not a 50-50 split on how many points you can achieve here. It's not an even balance. Auburn got a D from me against A&M because I quite frankly think that they went out and just laid an egg. And we're going to talk a minute, I'm sure, about what Hugh Freeze had to say. But anyone saying that you hate losing when you feel like you played your best ball, I'm sorry, that's just bullshit. You did not play your best ball. And it was pretty hard to watch. So Dylan, let's hear your grades.
I'm gonna give the offense an F+.
Okay.
Strictly to take away your entire opportunity to make a joke.
No, I'm still putting down what you said in the graphic because Dylan's gonna give him a D-, right?
I'll give him an F+.
Huh?
I give him an F+. That's what it's written down on my paper.
Yeah. Okay.
Which give you an F+ because the run game was there, but for some reason, when something is going so well, you decide not to do it anymore. Which makes no sense to me. Watching Jarquez Hunter, Brian Battie, both averaged over 5 yards a carry. Sean Jackson got in, averaged 31 yards per carry. Just everything pointed at we should be running the crap out of the ball against A&M's defense. And we stopped doing it. Defense, I'm giving a B+. They held up pretty strong for a game where they got I think they were on the field longer. Or actually, they weren't, but it felt like they were on the field way longer than the offense was at any given time, which averages out to a C- overall. Shout out Oscar Chapman for winning the College Loop Offensive Player of the Week, and Eugene Asante for winning the Defensive Player of the Week.
Colin, before you cook, I need to go ahead and backtrack for a second because Dylan, that's just ridiculous. The fact that you went out of your way to change your answer so I couldn't talk is crazy, by the way. That's absolutely nuts. Before we got on the air, I'm going to air out Dylan's dirty laundry. All of you in the comments section like to join me in doing that. You also like to air mine out, which is fine. Dylan said something to the effect of like a D or a D-, and mentioned to the point, like he said, that the run game was there. And I said this before we went on the show, fellas. If you study for a test and you know the answers and you put down the wrong answers, your professor does not give a shit if you actually knew what you were supposed to be doing. You still failed. Auburn knew what they needed to be doing, or at least everybody else seemed to know what they needed to be doing, and they didn't. So they still failed, and they failed miserably. on the offensive side of the ball. Colin Beyersdorf, your grades for the A&M, I'll just call it an ass whooping.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. The offense, they kind of played like garbage. So that's an F for me. Didn't get to watch this game in its entirety live. Have gone back and cemented myself to that torture.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's an F. Defense, they played well. Like you said, Eugene Asante with a scoop and score, with Jimbo on the field. I'm going to have to censor that for myself. But yeah, Jimbo on the field just made no sense. But defense is going to get a B- for me. So I think I'm copying Utah, but it's what we did this week. So D for overall grade. They played like garbage. It was a tough game to watch, and it hurt me as much as it hurt me watching Denver this week, and that was also tough.
Oh man, you had a rough week of football.
Oh yeah, it was a tough weekend.
Oh, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse than what Daniel Larck went through this weekend. Let's not forget about his beloved Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
I would say, as someone who has Tyreek Hill on his fantasy team, I am A-okay with what happened with the Broncos this weekend.
Broncos Nation, let's ride. Also, side note, that is back-to-back shows now that we've had someone not me slip up and have to censor themselves. So that's really funny. There's a first time for everything, folks. Yeah, it's that's a new one, but that's okay. Colin, continue to cook.
Yeah, so I guess we saw Hugh Freeze at the press conference today. We kind of talked about back and forth in our group chat if this was a good press conference from him or a bad press conference. So I kind of just want to open that up to conversation. A lot was said.
Where do you start? I mean, like where do we start here? I think I'm maybe in the first one to say it, and I'm not the only one to have said it in the group chat, like you mentioned, Colin. I went back and watched in bits and pieces, and then read transcripts, and I pretty much feel like I've seen the whole press conference. If I have missing parts, then I'm sorry, and I'll just openly admit if you guys say something that I hadn't heard. But it was so bad it was good, or so good it was bad, and I'm not sure which one it was. I can't really decide. This is the most coach speak we've ever seen from Hugh Freeze in an Auburn Polo, period, by the way. And we're going to get into that here a little bit later. But I want to start with the whole love, not hate for Georgia thing. That's where I want to start. Let me make myself crystal clear. Auburn's biggest rival has been, and always will be the University of Alabama, UAT, University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa. That being said, no Auburn fan in their right mind has ever said, I tolerate the University of Georgia, because they don't. Most Auburn fans that grew up in the state of Georgia, and I feel comfortable saying this because I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people. Everybody knows Atlanta's a huge feeder for Auburn students, will tell you that their hatred for the University of Georgia is similar to that of the University of Alabama, if not more. Hugh, I know you're new, and you admitted that. I appreciate that. You know, I'm saying I know I'm new here. There is no love lost in this rivalry. You might be the first Auburn coach to ever say anything nice about Georgia beyond that well-coached. Obviously, they're well-coached. Also, him not knowing how long it took Kirby to get to the top is wild. That was bizarre. But
granted, I thought it took him like 3 years to get there too. I forgot it was only 2.
No, trust me, I hadn't forgot. This is folks. For those of you who are avid listeners to the College Loop and kind of think of me as being kind of reserved and being a Barner, just know that this will be the week that you'll get the full effect. I hate no one more than I hate the University of Georgia. That's that simple. That's unprofessional as hell for me to say, but I'll say it. I don't really care. Yeah, that was a weird take. So that was weird. Hey, Dylan, did you how'd you like the coach speak about the quarterback situation?
Yeah, I don't understand what Hugh Freeze saw in the film room sessions. If he's even watched the film of the game yet, but he watched the game like the rest of us did.
Hey, if he hasn't watched the film, can you really blame him?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I rhetorical question. Thank you, smartass.
Let's say he watched it real time. I don't understand how you could possibly go into this game against Georgia and possibly think that you can succumb this team to another game of the Peyton Thorne experience. I think it's ran its course. I think that train it hit its peak at the second half of Sanford. which should not ever be the case for any quarterback for any Power 5 school, that they had their best game against an FCS opponent and then absolutely crapped the what's the shot the pooch, shoot the pooch,
Screw the pooch.
Screw the pooch. There we go. Against their first SEC opponent in College Station, and I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody out there: this A&M defense is not as good as this Georgia defense.
It's not in the same jurisdiction.
Exactly, and we've been getting comments left and right talking about how, oh, well, you just like Robby Ashford for no reason. You just think he's all good for no reason. What have you seen from Peyton Thorne? What have you seen from Peyton Thorne? What have you seen from Holden Gerner? What have you seen from Hank Brown that says that anybody else should be starting at quarterback at all? What have you seen from any of the quarterback? We have film of Robby Ashford. People hate Robby Ashford because he was starting quarterback last year. That's the only reason you hate him. People go in and say, oh, he only completed one pass. We just got a comment about that. He only completed one pass because he had two of the passes dropped. People said, and Hugh Freeze talked about how they just completely abandoned the RPO because we've just saw the fact that Peyton Thorne, quicker than he may seem, he is not agile. He's not going to make people miss in the SEC. The RPO can't be run with Peyton Thorne, not in the SEC. If you want the RPO to be ran, give it the ball to Robby Ashford. And if you don't want Robby Ashford to play, fine, get rid of the RPO. But Peyton Thorne should not be taking snaps as Auburn starting quarterback for the remainder of probably the season.
Yeah, I was going to let Dylan go on that rant first. Colin, I want to hear what your thoughts are. Bringing it back to the Hugh Freeze press conference, and then if it was it good or was it bad?
I mean, I don't know how great it was. Like, obviously, he had the Georgia comment, which as a first-year head coach, he's coached 4 games for us. You can't be like throwing bones to our rivals. That's just something that irks me, and I know it irks everyone else. I've seen it all on Twitter today. People are upset with that. We don't want to say like play for love instead of play for hate, I think was something that he kind of said. I'll play for hate any day of the week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If I can wake up and hate a team, that's like maybe the number one motivator of why I'm going to like kick their ass is because I hate them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And run up the score.
Yeah, exactly.
Or hear me out. Hear me out. What if Hugh Freeze is using Kirby Smart's own stupid motivation techniques against him? What are you can't go in the locker room and put up bulletin board material saying Hugh Freeze loves you and have them be motivated to play on Saturdays. But if like South Carolina says that Georgia's on a top 5 loudest stadium at the SEC, he can do that. But you can't say Hugh Freeze is playing out of love this weekend. That's not going to get Georgia players riled up. That's not going to have them speeding to practice every day.
Yeah, he can't say Hugh Freeze is going to baptize you. They might get upset.
Maybe it's just a reverse psychology technique by Coach Freeze.
I will add, there has been less public smack talk from this Auburn team, I think, and maybe this is recency bias, but than there has been in a while. Like there have been in the past couple of years specifically a lot of smack talk, not backed up by the way, from guys like on social media, like just like kind of going after other guys, and it's been more quiet this year. So I almost wondered if you're a little bit onto something you're doing about not giving other teams bulletin board material, which like inherently means that you don't expect to win games. Not great, but still.
Hugh Freeze said that. He even talked about in the press conference that he just like, I think we're giving ourselves too much like unrealistic expectations, which I think you're about to go into. I
was about to mention that was the perfect way to kind of end this, in my opinion. I think that if there was a high point in all of this, and this ruffled some feathers, I know. Everybody wants to win. They want to win now, especially in the age of the transfer portal. But Hugh Freeze mentioned quite possibly it's probably the best quote from Hugh Freeze since he's been the head coach at Auburn, which is why I can't figure out if this is a good press conference or a bad press conference, because the Georgia take was bad. That was really bad.
And one of the worst.
I don't care about the people that said, "Oh, read it in full context." I don't give a shit. The way that it was delivered, bad. This one was good. Him mentioning the fan perspective and fan patience does not matter one iota to him right now, and that he cares about Auburn fans and that he appreciates Auburn fans. But at the end of the day, he understands that there are people he has to answer to, and it's not anybody in this StreamYard call. It's not anybody in our comments section. It's not anybody that follows us, barring I don't think anyone significant enough follows the podcast yet. If not, if you know those people, tell them to listen. Of course, I know a couple have listened in the past. There's your little innuendo. But all things considered, he did. I mean, Dylan, that was funny. Thank you. That was good.
It took me a second to realize what you actually said.
Hey, honestly, we might look back on it and people may have wished that would have gone differently. But that all things considered, now that I got Dylan falling out of his chair, he called some expectations ridiculous. And I think that he's right. Matter of fact, I know he's right. I know that Dylan and I came on here in the preseason and said something about like there are ways that Auburn goes 10-2 this year. Dylan liked to call out projections.
It's still on the table.
It is still technically in the cards, mathematically. But we came in on the preseason saying there's a way that Auburn wins 10 games this year. There absolutely was. I want to remind people I'm steadfast in that. There's still a very real world that Auburn goes 6-6, 7-5, 8-4, whatever, anywhere combination between them. They're going to a bowl game. That's happening. Don't worry about that. But tailoring expectations is so important. This group, and I think Hugh said this without saying it, and I'm going to shut up in a second, guys, I promise. But without saying this verbatim, Hugh Freeze said, look, I'm not the guy that came before me. I have a proven track record. I know how to do this at this level. I believe in what we're doing. I have tangible results I can show you. I have benchmarks. And those recruiting points and the recruiting rankings and seeing Auburn trending up with these bigger recruits. We're going to talk about a young man that decommitted from the University of Georgia earlier this week. Here in just a moment. He has those tangible results that he can show and say, look, this is year one. This is where we're at. This is the floor. We're only going to go up from here. I have a clear vision that I have not only shared with the people who actually make the decisions at Auburn, but has pretty much shared with everybody and said, hey, look, this thing's going to take time. I'm not saying that it will take forever, but it's going to take some time. Let's not forget, folks, Auburn was in a shitter. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at his track record, the issue with this fan base, and I say this fan base meaning my fan base, me, once you get used to a certain standard of play, it's hard for you to go through those 2 years and then come back out and not kind of expect a kind of a rejuvenation of success kind of stuff.
Winning is like crack cocaine. Like actually,
exactly. You got to have it. Yeah. After you taste it, you got to have it.
Right.
And the issue is, I saw the tweet saying that Auburn's not ready for a rebuild. I think that might have some legitimacy to it. I don't know if Auburn fans are ready for another like 6-6, 7-5 season. But are they going to be ready whenever Hugh Freeze turns it around? Because he has a track record of doing that. He gave Ole Miss a winning resume, which by all means is really hard to do. He won big games at Ole Miss. We have not seen an Ole Miss coach do that since Hugh Freeze left.
Correct.
Still may never see it. And looking at what Hugh Freeze has done and what he's going to do, I mean, I think Auburn is ultimately set up for future success. I think for all of the glazing and the Auburn goggles that we put on during the show, I think that we all are in the same understanding that this is not going to be a championship competing team yet. But Hugh Freeze, given the resources that Auburn has, this is not Ole Miss. Auburn has the money. Auburn has the recruiting. Auburn has all the stuff that you need to build a championship winning program. Hugh Freeze can do it. Just need to be a little patient.
I love that. Colin, if you want to expand on that, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people just need to realize that it's not going to be instant. Even with the era of the transfer portal win right now, you can't just completely turn around a team that was, for lack of a better term, they were on the side of the road in the gutter.
Sure.
This team was bad, and it's going to take time to build it back up to what it was a few years ago.
I mean, look at Florida State.
Look at Florida State. Look at Colorado. They got ass kicked by Oregon today.
Which we knew was going to happen, by the way.
Yes.
I think we should probably use Florida State as the better example. Mike Norvell's been there for 4 years now? And he
Yes.
has now finally established that FSU is a championship level team by using the transfer portal and recruiting. And they don't even have a blue chip ratio. And I know Colin hates the fact that I'm saying that Florida State's the best football team in Florida right now, but it's true. And it's because they gave Norvell time, and he built the team based on his culture.
And let's not forget, Florida State fans did not give Norvell time. Florida State gave Norvell time because Florida State fans wanted
Yes.
him in a hurry.
They wanted him gone like the first year.
Yeah, it's rough.
Especially the Travis Hunter thing that happened.
Dylan, you mentioned that Colin's Colorado example doesn't play as well as Florida State. I think you put those together, and it's the perfect synthesization. I think, Colin, you got a ton of validity there. I mean, look, Colorado quickly brought themselves back to a not contention, but competing level where they can at least play competent football against lesser opponents. Let's be honest, like Auburn would probably still be Colorado right now. Let's be honest there. The benchmark, when it's that low, it's a lot easier to see progression. Auburn still had dudes to some effect, not a ton, but still had dudes. And Auburn also plays in the toughest conference in college football, period. I know that we were talking before the show about how good the Pac-12 is, but like the SEC is the most competitive conference in college football. So it is going to take time. And I personally don't think it's crazy for us to say, look, if things aren't working out the way you want them to by year 3, all right, fine, let's start talking. But until then, just shut up. I mean, myself included. I'm going to overreact on Saturday. I promise you. This Saturday, when Auburn welcomes UGA to politely beat the living dog crap out of the Tigers, I'm going to be frustrated. But I'm also going to have to remind myself to keep it in perspective that this is going to take time and there are tangible results. That's the big thing for me, right? You never got that from Brian Harsin. And at the end of the Malzahn tenure, it was almost kind of like riding off of his previous success. And I'm not dogging on Gus. I really, really am a huge supporter of Gus and Christy and the Malzahn family. Was it the right time to move on? Yes, that's another conversation, right? But there are tangible results and you can see a plan. Look, if the plan doesn't work in 3 years and things are really not progress and you can't see growth, and Hugh Freeze mentioned this today, that Auburn fans should expect to see Auburn get better every week. And that's fair. And in whatever capacity that looks like, that doesn't always mean the win-loss column in year 1 or year 2. But seeing where Auburn is improving in areas where they have been historically bad, when I say historically, I mean over the past half decade, right? That is what the expectation should be right now. Not winning a championship. If you get ahead of schedule next year and you win 10 games, that's awesome. But keep it in perspective. That's so important. That's my piece on that, Colin.
All right. I think we've hit that topic. And another topic we've already kind of hit. What would a Robby Ashford-led Tigers team look like this Saturday? And I'm going to let you take this, Tarr, because I know Dylan has already said his piece and we'll say it again. But I'd love to hear your take on it.
Well, before I do that, I'm going to just let everybody know that now is a good time to hashtag buy the damn shirt, Colin. And we're gonna roll to that. Dylan, we throw that up on the screen for me real quick. You're the man. Appreciate you, Mr. Larck. If you are feeling so inclined, go to www.thewarreport.com. Pick up your very own Feeling Loopy College Loop War Report Podcast Network co-branded T-shirt. Most comfortable shirt you'll ever own. Comes in 5 colorways. Look great on game day. Look great watching the game on the couch. Look great going to get your groceries at Kroger. You look good all the time. Feel good. Look good, feel good, play good. You guys know the rules. All right. And make sure that when you get your shirt, you go on social media, send us a selfie, use hashtag Feeling Loopy, and we will make sure we throw you up on the stream for whatever the next installment of the College Loop is. We are happy to do it. We are so serious. Thank you guys so much for your continual support. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you're watching on YouTube, give us all 5 stars on whatever streaming platform you're listening to. Colin, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I know you asked me about the Robby Ashford question. Just need to tell people to buy the damn shirt. You know what I mean?
Yes, we need people to buy the War Damn shirt. So
oh, now you're throwing in more words. Buy the War Damn shirt. I like it. It's going to be like 17 words long. You're going to have some kind of like long. We're going to say Bodegetta before it yes. by the end of the season. I like that. Which side note, does Florida also do 2 bits?
Yeah, they do 2 bits.
What? I learned that today. Learned that today. That's how behind on the times I am.
So first Georgia steals our glory, and now Florida's stealing our 2-bit.
That was stolen from actually community college.
A&M is stealing our swag surf.
Okay.
Penn State stealing our whiteout.
Robby Ashford. All right, never mind. I should have let him cook.
If someone takes our Eagle flight, I'm gonna lose my mind.
The Eagles did it.
did.
Yeah, what the hell?
They didn't stole our Eagle. They stole our Eagle.
They literally did steal our Eagle.
Yeah.
That's crazy, by the way. Okay. All right. You asked me, Colin, what does the Robby Ashford-led offense look like against the University of Georgia on Saturday? And to kind of piggyback off what Dylan said, for those of you guys who have listened to the show for a long time, first off, thank you. For those of you guys who haven't, this is all new to you. But for those of you guys who've listened for a long time, you know that I'm a huge proponent of one quarterback or no quarterbacks. I'm still on that. If you have two quarterbacks, you have none. But it is time to try it. Robby Ashford adds the element of, like Hugh Freeze said, Auburn got away from the RPO. Got away from it. Where was it? I never saw it. And I'm being candid.
He didn't even see it.
I'm not dogging on Peyton Thorne as much as I'm asking people, why is Robby Ashford not the answer now? I can't tell you this is going to work, Colin, but I can tell you this. If you have to scheme against Robby Ashford right now, what we've seen on tape in the SEC, and granted it's one game, but what we've seen on tape, if you're scheming for Peyton Thorne, it is pretty one-dimensional. Yeah, he can move a little bit with his legs, but like Dylan mentioned earlier, moving around in the pocket has been tough to watch against P5s. It just has. We have film with Robby Ashford that can tell us that he can extend plays with his feet. You're playing the number one team in the land on Saturday. Literally every single trick you have in the bag, dump it out. It's time. There is no play that is too secretive that you need to keep it off tape. Robby Ashford can be used in a number of packages. You can use him in the red zone. You can throw him out there on a design QB run. You can throw him out there on the RPO. You can throw him out there on the option. Dylan mentioned the triple option, which gave me Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech flashbacks a minute ago, or I guess a day ago. But there are so many things that you can do in the run game, which is clearly Auburn's strong point. Does the offensive line need to improve? Absolutely. I agree with that. But I think that a Robby Ashford-led offense gives you the best chance to put up points against a Georgia team that I just don't know how well you're going to be able to do that. I don't know that it's on the table. I had someone tell me earlier in the week, if Auburn scores more than 2 offensive touchdowns, I will be amazed. They said, quote, I will be amazed. And the more I got to thinking about it, I kind of laughed in the moment. And then I was like, no, I think you're right. This Auburn offense has no identity. If you want to establish that identity of the RPO, Robby Ashford's your option. Look, Robby Ashford, and I'm going to put on the not orange and blue glasses that Dylan wears, and I'm going to be objective. Robby Ashford is not a great passer, but you don't know the sample size this year. We haven't had enough. The level of competition he's gotten to throw against is not comparable to what he's going to have to play against should he be given the reins. But we have seen him do it in the past. He's got a good deep ball. We saw him in the Bama game last year. If his shoulder's healthy, it's time to try it. Make that defense cheat up. Give your receivers an opportunity to burn corners and burn those DBs and get behind the secondary of UGA, which is still going to play you competitively. I think it gives you the best chance. I don't know that there's much more proof in the pudding that Peyton Thorne isn't ready for the moment. It looked too big for him for a noon kickoff in College Station, where, I mean, let's be honest, 11 a.m. kickoffs Central Time, right? Like, the environment's not what it could be. If that game would have been in Kyle Field, Auburn could have lost that game by 40 points. I'm not joking. It does matter, and you're playing on the seat in the CBS slot on Saturday in the Deep South's oldest rivalry. And the last time this was going to be annual, you got to do something different. You got to make them respect you in the run game. You got to make them have to scheme for a guy that they don't know how he's going to progress in the passing game. Quite frankly, we don't either, but it's time to try it. So that's my two cents worth.
I mean, yeah. I guess the only thing I can add on that before I let Dylan run with it is that Robby gives you more of a chance. I think Robby just changes the offense completely. We kind of saw this in the Texas A&M game where we'd go run, pass outside, and that wasn't working. With Robby, he can do it himself, and we saw that at the end of last year. So it's just, I think he makes the offense more dynamic at the end of the day.
Agree. Dylan?
Yeah, so I think that if Hugh Freeze does not go into this week planning on actively getting Robby Ashford as behind center for the totality of the Georgia game, I don't know what to think anymore. I have been the biggest Robby Ashford truther. I will remain the biggest Robby Ashford truther because Peyton Thorne, he gained my respect and lost it within a 6-day span.
Right.
Which is a crazy thing to do.
Right.
You got to think about how you want this offense to look like. You want to, Hugh Freeze wants to run the RPO. I just talked about how you can't do that with Peyton Thorne. You could do it with Robby Ashford. And you get all these people talking about. I'm still getting comments about it right now as we speak. People just going, he's only completed one pass. Well, his completion percentage is 41%. Well, this and that. He sucked last year. He was good last year. He wasn't, for what that team was last year, Robby Ashford was the best quarterback on the roster, and he had moments where he proved it. Robby Ashford was given a summer and a spring and a fall, all camps to get better. And we've been hearing if it's coach speak, let it be, I guess. But we've been hearing about how Hugh Freeze says that Robby Ashford and Owen Gurner are nipping at Peyton Thorne's heels. And he even brought up the fact that Peyton Thorne has been playing very well in practice, but it's not transitioning over to the field very well. That is an issue that your veteran quarterback is having. Veteran quarterbacks should not be playing very well in practice, and that's not transitioning over to the game. That should never be a problem you have with a veteran quarterback. True freshman? Yes, fine, that works. True sophomore? Yeah, maybe. A redshirt junior? No. Robby Ashford needs to get on the field. This is to be an RPO system. You are going to have to win both sides of the offense, and the only way you can do that was with Robby Ashford because he can pass the ball. He can make throws. 2 of the passes that were incomplete were on target, just dropped.
I don't disagree, Dylan. Like I mentioned, I think that Robby Ashford gives you the best chance. I do think it'll be Peyton Thorne on Saturday. I know that's going to hurt some people's feelings. It's going to make some other people happy. I definitely have confused some people this week. Ultimately, Auburn needs to start the quarterback that they think gives them the best chance, and that's a given, right? That feels like a layup question. If Hugh Freeze sticks with Peyton Thorne on Saturday, and we heard in the press conference today that that's fluid, but it feels like it's still Peyton Thorne. If Peyton Thorne is the starter against Georgia, this is the end of the leash. End of sentence. I actually, as much as you should never chalk a game up as a loss, I actually can understand some logic behind if you're going to figure it out, now's the time. I get it. I actually do. If you go in and you play well against the number 1 team in the land, against that defense, say what you want about their offense, Georgia's defense is still good, still very, very good. If you can go in and show signs of promise and show that you can handle a moment that's that big, because let's be honest, folks, Auburn could be 0-4 right now, and this game would still be a sellout, and fans would still be delusionally hoping that Auburn can win this game. I will be one of them. But if Peyton Thorne goes downhill in a hurry on Saturday, I need to see the leash pulled. And it's time to pull the cord on that experiment. It's not like he transferred from a G5. It's not like he transferred from an FCS school. Transferred from Michigan State. You played in big atmospheres. Now, Big Ten football makes me as disgusted as the next person. I get it. But at the same time, you can't go out there and look like a freaking deer in the headlights against the number 1 team in the land, because Auburn can lose this game and still find, I don't like the word moral victories, but still find a lot of positives. I firmly believe that. If Auburn goes out and plays the best football that it is capable of playing, and Hugh Freeze starts the guy that gives Auburn the best chance, whether that be Peyton Thorne or Robby Ashford, I believe Robby along with everyone here. But if he thinks that's Peyton Thorne goes up there and plays to the best of Peyton Thorne's ability and plays reasonably well, you can look and say Auburn did everything in its power to win this ball game. If you came out on the winning side, great. If you go out and you lose in a close one, but you played your best ball, you can live with that. Now, if Peyton Thorne goes out and makes a mess out of this game and he doesn't get pulled, Hugh Freeze is about to learn how ruthless an SEC fan base can be. Again, I know he's been there before, but he's going to learn how ruthless an SEC fan base, where a lot of them have cognitive memory of championships, can be. Just saying.
Well, I think the best thing that Auburn can get out of this game, outside of a win, is finding an identity offensively.
Bingo. Bingo.
And I think Cal and A&M both showed us that you can't find that identity with Thorne. He didn't have a turnover against A&M. Fine. That's awesome. I'm glad he finally went 4 quarters without turning over the ball. But here's the bad part. 44 yards passing. Negative 34 yards on the ground. 10 total yards in all. And I'm pretty sure, let me check my math on that real quick before I look stupid on air again. But for all that's worth, I have not looked stupid for any of my Robby Ashford takes. And I think that you look at this game from top to bottom, looking at where we stand now, looking at how the run game has been, and I got it right. He had negative 34 rushing yards, 10 total yards from the starting quarterback. Robby Ashford should have the keys to the metaphorical Cadillac. Because if you want to run the ball, if you want to have your best position group prove that they're the best position group outside of the secondary, you need to utilize a quarterback who can benefit from those strengths. And who better than the guy, if you call a play action pass, they don't know, they're going to be a little worried if it's going to be a halfback run or a quarterback run or even a little slant route. Robby Ashford gives you the ability to get the ball down the field just as much as Peyton Thorne does. Robby Ashford's best attribute as a passer is his deep ball. Those intermediate passing routes, he's been a little inconsistent with. We've seen that. I try to sunshine pump that much where I can say that he will make those throws 9 times out of 10. But I've not seen this season where I've seen any of those balls get past him. The one again with Jair Shorter, that was miscommunication. I completely understand that. It happens all the time with quarterbacks. Short yardage routes, he did that against Sanford, and he went 3 of 3 on those short routes. Robby Ashford can be utilized in a way that will make this Georgia defense kind of more aware of what an Auburn offense can do, especially with the talent around. Those wide receivers are good. They either start catching the ball, but they're good. This offensive line can be good. Tight end room is really good. Rivaldo Fairweather is a G. He's a dog, if you will. Jarquez Hunter, still healthy. Brian Battie, still healthy. Jeremiah Cobb, still healthy. Sean Jackson, the best running back to ever touch the field at Jordan-Hare Stadium. You got to utilize a quarterback that is going to help benefit your offense the most, and that is not Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, I mean that's I feel like that really kind of closes it there. To be real with you, I will part with this, Colin, as I let you move forward with the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we hit this one pretty good.
Let me leave you with this. It's short. For how much Robby Ashford did for this team last year, the only player I've seen Auburn fans turn on that hard. He's about to win the Heisman at Oregon. Continue, Colin.
All right. So I know we've had a lot of Georgia talk on this show today, and not many of our fans would appreciate that Georgia talk. But here's some Georgia talk that I think everyone can get excited about. One of the top wide receiver recruits in the 2024 class, Tarr, has decommitted from the Georgia Bulldogs and will be visiting Auburn this weekend to see those Bulldogs take on our Tigers.
Hello.
Hello. So I just wanted to see, do we have a real chance at landing Mr. Carr right here? Not this weekend, obviously, but making a lasting impression and continuing to recruit him down the line.
You can pull him out of if he's decommitted from UGA, he's listening to all serious offers. And that sounds like free agency, but like that's what recruiting is now. I mean, anybody that Hugh Freeze can get in front of for an extended period of time and show them an environment like what we're going to see at Jordan-Hare on Saturday. Hell yeah, I think Auburn has a chance. And I'm not just being biased. I think that if you can get any big name recruit in an environment like that or like the Iron Bowl and let them get in front of Hugh Freeze, in front of Cadillac Williams, in front of Zach Etheridge, Trevon Reed, you got a chance, man. I mean, this group can recruit and they know what they're doing and they're intentional. So I absolutely do think so. And I think Tarr does have a lot of interest at Auburn.
I mean, when it comes to most coaches around the league, the term buyout comes out a lot in reference to a lot of coaches, like Jimbo Fisher for one. But buy-in has been something that Hugh Freeze has been preaching about.
Right.
These recruits want to come to Auburn really bad because they want to play for Hugh Freeze. They want to play with Walker White, who's been one of the biggest recruiters that's not on staff per se.
Right.
And just the fact that Nye Carr is just even looking at Auburn after decommitting from Georgia is absolutely crazy. Surely, well, then again, Auburn does have to beat out a couple of other big-time schools,
Right.
i.e. Miami and Florida State, who have very warm interests per 24/7. And those are going to be your big dogs. They're back up at the top of the sport right now because they're winning games. But Carr is just, he's an athlete, dude. He's 5'11", 170, I believe, is what I read. Yeah, 170. Dude's a beast. He's athletic, fast, quick, agile. He's gonna
Good
match
hand.
up. Good hands. He's gonna match up very well with Bryce Kane, and and oh my god, oh my god,
How about Perry Thompson?
Perry Thompson. I
was waiting, bro.
all I could see was Cam Coleman, which Auburn's still on the phone with Cam Coleman, by the way. Auburn could run 4 wide next year of just freshman wide receivers. Let that be known. But yeah, just
don't take the ball out of my boy Shane Hook's hands. Yeah, continue.
Shane Hooks, is that his last year of eligibility or no?
He's got one more year, right?
It's always safe to assume they have one more year now.
I feel like
years.
that, yeah.
Good point. But just the fact that Auburn is currently going at these big-time wide receiver targets is huge. I've been an Auburn fan my entire life. I have never seen a recruiting class put together to where Auburn is actively getting weapons like this. It's never happened. Auburn usually gets like 1 or 2 wide receivers and are not going to be like your higher level up wide receivers. You're not going to get a guy like Perry Thompson coming around. You're not going to have guys
like Anthony Schwartz.
Do what?
You're going to get like an Anthony Schwartz.
Yeah. And you're going to luck out and get a 3-star wide receiver who ends up being a Seth Williams.
Yeah.
Like, that's usually what the Gus Malzahn era was like. And then the Brian Harsin era, it was, I'm not recruiting based on their talent, I'm based on their character, which...
Stop that. He's not recruiting, period.
He just lied in general. He wasn't doing either. He was just not doing it.
Yeah.
Then Hugh Freeze comes in and is like, we're establishing a culture here. Don't look at the record right now. But get ready for what the record's going to be next year and the year after, when these players start buying in and getting in the practice and getting in these reps. When Perry Thompson's an immediate starter, when DeMarcus Riddick stepped on that field game 1 of the 2024 season, then the comes and walks the 2025 class. And then slowly and surely Auburn is going to be a perennial top 5 recruiting team.
Colin, you got him on this, by the way.
My bad.
Just sitting there thinking that Auburn is possibly just a year out from being a top 5 class in the recruiting world because of what Hugh Freeze is doing for Auburn recruiting.
The win's got to come too. Continue, Colin.
Well, with that, how about we talk a little hardwood on the College Loop, something we've not done.
I love it when you talk dirty.
Forever. Men's and women's basketball have both started practice. That means we're less than 50 days out from the season.
That's right.
44?
I think it's 48, but I could be completely wrong.
I thought it was 50 like last Monday.
Either way, we got hardwood on the plains, and I am so pumped just for this to come back. Obviously, looking at the men's schedule, we got the Baylor game to start off, but then the SEC ACC challenge. We pulled Virginia Tech. We've known that, but now we know we play them at 8:15 on ESPN Deuce. So
I love that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game.
I still hate the fact that it's Virginia Tech. I really wanted revenge.
Yeah, on Virginia.
That's other
wrong Virginia school.
Yeah. How long is
the only likable
challenge going through for? Like, because I know that we did the Big 12 forever.
We're still doing Big 12, right?
Are we?
Are we playing Oklahoma?
Yeah, they're just adding ACC.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. It's
no, Oklahoma. Who do we play this year?
Baylor.
Baylor.
I don't know if that's from.
I don't know. Baylor's not the Big 12 challenge. Baylor's like one of the tournaments, early season tournaments, right?
I don't think so. I think it's just like a normal game.
I think it's just a non-con.
Because USC is out there. We got to play Indiana.
Yeah, Auburn's got a tough non-con slate, dude.
What are you talking about, dude? Indiana is nothing. I'm saying that because I'm just going to wait for Daniel to
Daniel
watch
to
the
listen
show.
to the show. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good way to see if Daniel listens to the show.
If he gets 44 minutes in,
Yeah.
and here's the Indiana part, we'll know.
I mean, when has Indiana really done anything?
Fellas, who are you guys most excited for? Just one name answers. Most excited to watch on this men's team this year?
Chaney Johnson.
Great answer. Dylan?
I don't want to be a copycat, but I'm going to change it and say Aiden Holloway.
That's the layup, right? That's the layup. I'm going with another layup, by the way. I'm not getting creative. Janai Broom is about to prove to people that he can be a top 10 pick in this 2024 NBA draft. I'm just telling you right now. Like that dude is going to go absolutely nuts. He might be like the Auburn Oscar Tshiebwe, kind of like whenever they talk about Auburn, like even if they have a higher rated recruit, the Janai Broom will be the oh, by the way, Janai Broom did this. Janai Broom is wearing 2 different color shoelaces today. You know what I mean? Like something like that. That feels plausible. And you know what? It would be very nice for Auburn.
Auburn does not have a Big 12 challenge this year.
Yeah, I think we're replacing with the ACC.
Are we?
Yeah, I think the Big 12 challenge is over.
That's lame. I don't mind hard non-conference schedules at all, and hoops. I don't really mind them in any sport, but like in hoops specifically, because you can bounce back pretty quickly in hoops.
And if you get out of it, you get a good seed.
Yeah, exactly. I think the risk is so far outweighed by the reward. The reward is so far it oversees the risk in those situations. So, but Virginia Tech, a fun pool, but not like a good pool.
Is there a game on the schedule that y'all are excited for the most?
The USC game, and then on the non-con.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, USC. I'll be honest. Like, I'm really, really excited to watch Auburn play a very talented, very, very talented USC team at home. Yes, I know there's the obvious that we're going to get Bronny, which is cool. By the way, like, just embrace that. The fact that it's just cool. It's going to be fun to watch him playing college basketball. People can say what you want about being annoyed about LeBron being in the headlines. Bronny's going to be really fun to watch. Bryce is going to be more fun when he gets there.
Is he still Bronny's healthy?
As of right now, he's hooping. As of right now,
he's okay. Just making sure.
I don't know what all that looks like, but very excited. I mean, that team's talented to no end. Like, they're going to be a deep run team.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an awesome game.
That's going to be.
Are tickets on sale yet?
Are
tickets on sale yet for that?
No, not yet. I will let you know as soon as I go live because I will be buying probably 4. So I'll go ahead and let you know. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. I'm a huge that's a huge nut up and get good game. Like, we're about to find out what you're made of early, and
it's between a pretty nice slate.
Yeah,
because you play Indiana for Holiday Hoopsgiving, then you get a nice little break with UNC Asheville, then you get USC, and then Alabama State, Chattanooga, then Penn to kind of get you into Arkansas.
That game's gonna be super fun. What about you guys? Colin, you got a game in the non-con slate you're circling?
I mean, obviously USC. Just a chance to see a talent like Bronny live in person. Like,
and that atmosphere's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, it's just gonna be fun. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That game will be fun.
Give me the exhibition match versus AUM, a battle of my bachelor's and master's degree programs. But the answer is USC. That's right. That's just as simple as that. That game. That I asked that question knowing that's going to go around the horn. But I mean.
Okay, my women's basketball question, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys super quickly. Who are you guys most excited to watch? I know this is the same question I asked about men's, but who are you guys most excited to watch, and why is it the Honesty Scott Grayson farewell tour?
I'll let Dylan take this first.
You got it. I got to make sure that I'm trying to figure out who's starting, but it's gonna probably be Savannah Scott.
Yeah,
the center out of the freshman, because Auburn Coach Jay did it. She brought a big who can play to the women's basketball team. Let's go. We can rebound. Finally, this is a win. We're already undefeated before the season even starts. Not even counting the European World Tour over there. This is a win. Huge win. I'll even throw in Tamaya Thurman up there as well. Getting 2 freshmen who are 6'4" and up.
Colin?
W.
I'll go the opposite direction. I'll go someone that's been here a little shorter, Sydney Shaw.
That was my next answer. Honorable mention.
Yes, I think she'll be super fun to watch. I want to see how she's progressed.
Daniel wants Carson McFadden.
Can I say like a wild hot take about Auburn women's basketball? Speaking of Sydney Shaw,
Sure.
I think Sydney Shaw, and this is at 50-13, by the way. I think Sydney Shaw has all the tools to be a better version of Honesty Scott Grayson, and Honesty Scott Grayson is special, very, very special. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for her farewell tour, but I think this is also going to be kind of like the passing of the changing of the guard, and literally of the guard. That was pretty good. Haha, I'm proud of myself for that one. But Sydney Shaw, I mean, she's a 3-level scorer. She can handle the ball extremely well, which obviously is going to be Honesty's job this year. It should be. She's mentored a lot, at least on the outside. It looks like she's learned a lot from Honesty, and that's the person to learn from, right? I am very, very, very high on her potential with as only a sophomore this year, and going into sophomore, correct?
Yep.
She's a true freshman last year. Couldn't remember if she was a redshirt or not, but yeah, true freshman. I think she's got the stuff. I mean, I think that she really could be breaking Honesty Scott Grayson's records in 3 years. Just throwing that one out there. So,
I mean, there's always a chance, but I guess transitioning to another on-court sport.
I'd say just to keep it even though, are there any non-con games for women's basketball that you're excited for this season?
Colin?
No, I don't know. I've not looked at the schedule, so I'd have to take a quick gander.
There's an easy answer. It's Clemson.
Revenge game.
Revenge tour starts at Clemson, but you got to get through West Georgia, Columbus State, Jacksonville State, the Raging Cajuns, the birthplace of college football, but women's basketball version. Cal, UCF, or sorry, Central Florida. Central Florida. Alabama A&M, and then you wrap up with the ACC SEC Challenge with Clemson. Then you got UAB, Little Rock, Alabama State, Norfolk State, Washington State, North Alabama. Then you get started with the Lady Volunteers.
That Rutgers game could be weird, by the way. Just saying. Rutgers looks a whole lot different this year than they did last year in women's hoops. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's a slap in the face for both basketball teams. They have to open up the SEC play with women's basketball has to open up with Tennessee. Men's has to open up with Arkansas.
Slap in the face.
Welcome
That's
to
an
the
opportunity, my brother.
Well, yeah, but also welcome to the SEC moment. It's like starting off your SEC slate with
This
Georgia.
is new. It's not new. It's not
new, but
Colin,
then again,
you're about to cook about volleyball, my man. I'm gonna let you.
All right. So thank you, Tarr. But no, Auburn Volleyball had a big weekend here on the Plains, hosting number 3 Florida in the Nev for the first ever ranked volleyball match in Neville Arena, might I add. 3rd highest attendance all time for an Auburn volleyball match. So the people showed out for this game, and it did not disappoint. Went to 5 sets, 3 of which had to go little long, played a deuce. So these teams were neck and neck all night. Auburn did not come away with the dub, lost in the 5th set, extra time in the 5th set. But no, Akasha Anderson showed out, had 18 kills, led the whole match, was just dominant on the outside. And the Tigers then followed that up against Ole Miss on Sunday and took care of business on the short turnaround. But yeah, buy stock in Auburn volleyball.
Is this team better than we thought they were?
I think so. This team is we cannot forget how young they are. It is like almost entirely sophomores and freshmen. And this is the 3rd week in a row they've been ranked, which I don't know when the last time an Auburn team has ever been able to say that.
None, because it's the first year they've been ranked.
It's the first time they've been ranked. But yeah, they're taking care of business, and the people are noticing.
Big ups to Brent Crouch and company. Continue on and keep cooking, Mr. Beyersdorf.
Yeah. So then on the pitch, Auburn soccer tied Ole Miss 0-0. It was Maddie Prohaska's 23rd career shutout, which bumped her up to 3rd all time on the list. So she's out there cooking. I think the Tigers prevented any shots on goal in the second half and then just outscored Ole Miss, but just couldn't find the back of the net, which has been the story
Right.
This entire season, last season, it's just offensive struggles. Not even struggles, just not being able to finish.
That sounds familiar
We're
across a
playing
couple
number
different fall sports.
7, South Carolina, in 4 days or
that
3
will
days
be
as this comes out.
Tough.
Well, that's I believe that's all we got for the College Loop today. Correct, Colin?
yeah.
Hey,
That's all we got.
by the way, give it up for Mr. Beyersdorf, freaking running the show today. How about that? How'd it feel, man? You got some confidence
Dude,
building?
it felt good. I'm powerful now.
What felt better, running the show or actually getting to eat for once?
Dude, it was eating, man. It's been too long.
Well, that's good because time's ticking. It resets next week if we're not by that 700 by next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. So you may want to start campaigning to get us to 700 subs on YouTube sooner than later.
Yeah, we should get to 700, or I'm gonna have to start putting some weight on these next couple days.
You have to like hibernate. All right, Colin. 2 ways everybody can support the show. Tell us.
So you could like and subscribe. That is 2 there, I guess, technically. But you could also buy the War Damn shirt.
There you go. That's at thewarreport.com or in the description of any of our shows. Colin, tell everybody where they can find you. Love you and support you.
Yeah, so you can just follow my Twitter at Beyersdorf Colin. That's BEYERSDORF Colin.
Right on, man. I am Harrison Tarr at Tarr on the Bird app if you want to come hang out with me there. Always love to interact with you guys. Always love your questions. On that same note, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell right here on the YouTube channel if you're watching on the YouTube stream. If you're not, we're not judging and we appreciate your listenership as well. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating, thumbs up, whatever platform that looks like on whatever platform you're listening to, because we are available on all of them. Dylan will list them here in a moment. Make sure to drop your comments. We are ready to listen to those score predictions. We'll make sure we star them and put them up on the pregame show later in the week for Auburn hosting number 1 UGA in football this Saturday. Also, if you want to give any other takes for any other sport, we are all ears. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. Tell us where you're wrong. Tell us where you're right. Want to hear all about that. Thank you guys so much for your continual support. 600 subs. Still can't get over that, guys. You guys are absolutely crazy. We love you. Loopers are the best listeners in the world, and you can't change my mind. Dylan, I'm going to let you get us out of here.
Tar, they're not going to tell us when they're wrong. They won't tell us when we're wrong. You know,
But that's their job. It's checks and balances.
Hey, I mean, I got my first ever hate comment from a message board, which is hilarious to me. I am so glad.
You take that stuff way better than I do.
I love it. I live for it. I love it. If people aren't hating me, I'm not doing anything right. That's how I imagine it. So I embrace the hate. Hate runs college athletics so much, and it runs me. Just know.
You mean you don't want to kill them with love?
No. If you hate my Robby Ashford picks, go follow me on Twitter, where you can also give me some more engagement as well for giving me your bad opinions about Robby Ashford. It's right there at your boy the Tank, at YABOY the Tank. Also have me Instagram at Dylan Larck, at DYLENLARCK. And you can follow us here in the College Loop. You have us literally everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And am I missing one?
We're not at 1,000, so we're not at MySpace.
Not on MySpace quite yet. But Colin's got to run that in just 392 subscribers as I am looking at.
Colin really goes through the ringer around here, bro. How does Daniel get off scot-free?
Dude, I don't know. He got to run the MySpace, man. I'll petition for that.
How about this? 800. Daniel has to start running a Reddit.
Oh, I like that.
Well, now you have 2 goals. And of course, right here on YouTube, we should like, comment, subscribe, leave your questions, leave your thoughts. Tell us why Robby Ashford should start. Tell us why people were saying that Hank Brown should be put in for whatever reason. If they don't want Robby Ashford to play, they're like, all right, throw in the freshman. That makes perfect sense to me. Yep. And of course, if you're tired of seeing our faces, I completely understand. Look at Colin. I don't understand why you want to listen to it with audio only, but you can. On Spotify, Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And of course, all that being said, buy the shirt, hashtag Feelin' Loopy, throw it up there real quick. And again, this has been the College Loop Podcast.